What really happened between Jungkook and Taehyung behind the smiles, the cameras, and the silence? Did Jungkook truly lose his temper with Taehyung? And was there a hidden reason that left Taehyung in tears? One emotional moment is now at the center of a story that has left fans wondering whether they have completely misunderstood what happened between the two BTS members. Before we reveal the full story, ask yourself one question. What if the argument was never really about anger at all? What if the words that sounded harsh were actually connected to something much deeper? And what if Taehyung's tears were not simply caused by Jungkook being angry, but by a painful misunderstanding that neither of them knew how to explain? If you enjoy emotional BTS stories like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Most importantly, tell us in the comments what you think really happened between Jungkook and Taehyung. Was Jungkook genuinely angry, or was something else happening behind the scenes? The story begins with an atmosphere that seemed ordinary at first. There was no dramatic announcement, no obvious confrontation, and no clear indication that anything unusual was about to happen. Jungkook and Taehyung had spent years sharing stages, rehearsals, laughter, difficult schedules, quiet conversations, and countless moments that fans had come to associate with their friendship. Their relationship had always been complicated in the most human sense of the word. Sometimes they appeared playful and inseparable. Sometimes they were quiet around each other. Sometimes one seemed to understand the other without saying a single word. That was why the idea of Jungkook becoming angry with Taehyung immediately felt shocking. The tension, according to this fictionalized account, did not begin with something dramatic. It began with a misunderstanding. Taehyung had apparently been carrying something inside for longer than anyone realized. He had been unusually quiet, and although he continued smiling whenever the cameras were around, there was a noticeable difference in his behavior. He seemed distracted. His responses became shorter. His usual playful energy appeared to disappear whenever the conversation became personal. Jungkook noticed. At first, he did not say anything. He watched Taehyung from a distance, trying to understand what was happening. Was Taehyung tired? Was he upset about something? Had someone said something to him? Or was there a problem that Jungkook himself did not know about? The more Jungkook thought about it, the more frustrated he became. Not because he hated Taehyung. Not because he wanted to hurt him. But because he felt that Taehyung was shutting him out. That distinction would later become the most important part of the entire story. Jungkook had always been portrayed in this fictional narrative as someone who could become quiet when he was worried. Instead of immediately explaining his feelings, he sometimes kept them inside until they became impossible to ignore. Taehyung, meanwhile, was also capable of hiding emotional pain behind humor and a smile. That combination was dangerous. Two people were hurting. Neither wanted to admit it. And both believed the other should already understand. Eventually, the silence became too heavy. Jungkook finally confronted Taehyung. The conversation reportedly began calmly. Jungkook asked him what was wrong. Taehyung avoided answering. Jungkook asked again. Taehyung smiled and insisted that everything was fine. But Jungkook did not believe him. That was when the tone changed. Why do you keep saying you're fine when you're clearly not? Jungkook asked in the fictional scene. Taehyung remained silent. Jungkook became more frustrated. You don't have to tell me everything, he said, but don't pretend nothing is happening. Taehyung looked away. For several seconds neither of them spoke. Then Jungkook said something that Taehyung was not prepared to hear. He accused Taehyung of pushing people away whenever he was struggling. The words were not necessarily intended to be cruel, but they landed heavily. Taehyung's expression changed. He looked at Jungkook as if the words had confirmed one of his deepest fears. Perhaps he had believed that Jungkook understood him better than anyone. Perhaps he had expected comfort. Instead, he heard frustration. And suddenly, the emotional wall he had built began to collapse. Taehyung asked Jungkook why he was angry with him. Jungkook responded that he was not angry because he hated him. He was angry because he cared. But Taehyung did not hear it that way. He heard only the anger. He heard only the disappointment. And that was when his eyes began to fill with tears. The moment changed everything. Jungkook immediately realized that his words had gone too far. The anger disappeared from his face. Taehyung tried to turn away, apparently embarrassed that Jungkook had seen him crying. But Jungkook stopped him. He asked Taehyung to look at him. Taehyung refused. The silence that followed was more painful than the argument itself. Jungkook then lowered his voice. "I wasn't trying to hurt you." Those words were simple, but they carried everything he had failed to say earlier. Taehyung finally looked at him. And the tears came. Not because he suddenly hated Jungkook. Not because their friendship had ended. But because the confrontation had opened an emotional wound that had apparently been there for much longer. Taehyung admitted that he had been afraid. Afraid of becoming a burden. Afraid of disappointing people. Afraid that if he talked too much about what he was feeling, others would become tired of listening. Jungkook listened. For the first time during the confrontation, he stopped trying to defend himself. He simply listened. And perhaps that was the real turning point. The story was never really about Jungkook being angry. It was about two people who cared about each other but failed to communicate. Jungkook thought Taehyung was deliberately shutting him out. Taehyung thought Jungkook was becoming tired of him. Both were wrong. And that misunderstanding had created a moment that neither of them would forget. The most emotional part came when Taehyung finally explained why he had been distant. He said he did not want Jungkook to worry. He believed that keeping his problems to himself was a way of protecting the people around him. But Jungkook saw it differently. To him, being shut out felt like rejection. That was why he had become angry. Not because Taehyung had done something unforgivable. Not because Jungkook wanted to punish him. But because Jungkook wanted Taehyung to trust him enough to say when something was wrong. That revelation changed the meaning of the entire confrontation. What had looked like anger from the outside was actually fear. What had looked like rejection was actually an attempt to protect someone. And what had looked like a friendship breaking apart was, in reality, two people finally admitting that they were afraid of losing their connection. Taehyung wiped away his tears. Jungkook apologized. But Taehyung also apologized. Neither of them was completely innocent. Neither was completely guilty. They had simply allowed silence to speak for them. And silence had said things that neither of them truly meant. For fans watching the fictional story unfold, the most heartbreaking detail was not the argument. It was the moment when Taehyung asked whether Jungkook was disappointed in him. Jungkook immediately said no. He told Taehyung that being frustrated did not mean he had stopped caring. That distinction was everything. People can become angry with someone they love. People can become disappointed without abandoning someone. People can argue without their relationship being destroyed. And sometimes, the strongest relationships are not the ones that never experience conflict. They are the ones that survive it. As the conversation continued, Jungkook became more honest. He admitted that he sometimes did not know how to help Taehyung. He admitted that watching someone he cared about struggle, while pretending everything was fine, made him feel helpless. Taehyung listened quietly. Then he said something that made Jungkook emotional. He admitted that he had been scared Jungkook would eventually become tired of trying to understand him. Jungkook shook his head. He told Taehyung that he did not want perfection. He wanted honesty. Those words became the emotional heart of the story. Honesty. Not perfection. Not pretending. Just honesty. Taehyung finally allowed himself to cry without trying to hide it. Jungkook stayed beside him. There was no dramatic speech. No grand gesture. No attempt to turn the moment into something beautiful for an audience. It was simply two people sitting together after an argument, realizing that their assumptions had hurt them more than the original problem ever could. And perhaps that is why this fictional story feels so emotional. Because it reflects something deeply human. People often hurt the ones they care about most, not because they want to cause pain, but because their emotions become tangled with fear. Jungkook's anger came from fear of losing communication. Taehyung's tears came from fear of being rejected. Two fears collided. And for a moment neither knew how to stop them. But the ending was not destruction. It was understanding. The next morning, things were different. Not dramatically different. There was no sudden transformation. But there was a quiet change. Jungkook did not pressure Taehyung to explain everything. Taehyung did not pretend that everything was perfect. Instead, they began communicating more openly. If Taehyung needed space, he would say so. If Jungkook felt worried, he would explain why. They learned that silence could protect a person for a few minutes, but communication could protect a relationship for years. And perhaps that was the lesson hidden beneath the entire confrontation. The public often sees celebrities through cameras, performances, interviews, and carefully edited moments. But behind those images are people. People who become tired. People who misunderstand each other. People who become frustrated. People who cry. People who apologize. And people who sometimes need someone to simply stay. The fictional account of Jungkook becoming angry with Taehyung should therefore not be interpreted as a verified report of a real incident. It is a dramatic fan fiction narrative inspired by the emotional dynamics often imagined by fans. There is no claim here that Jungkook actually became angry with Taehyung, or that Taehyung actually cried because of him. The emotional story exists as fiction. But the feelings explored within it are real enough to resonate with anyone who has experienced a misunderstanding with someone they care about. Imagine believing that someone is angry because they no longer care about you. Imagine discovering later that they were angry because they cared too much. Imagine hiding your pain because you believe you are protecting someone, only to discover that your silence made them feel abandoned. That is the tragedy at the center of this story. And that is also why the final moment becomes so powerful. After everything had been said, Taehyung asked Jungkook one last question. "Are we okay?" Jungkook looked at him. There was a pause. Then he smiled. "We will be. Not. Everything is perfect. Not. Nothing happened. But. We will be." Those three words carried a message of hope. The relationship did not need to be perfect. It only needed to be honest. And perhaps the biggest surprise of the entire story was that the argument did not push them apart. It forced them to become more honest with each other. What began as anger ended with understanding. What began with silence ended with tears. And what appeared to be the end became a new beginning. So, what really happened? In this fictional narrative, Jungkook was not angry because he wanted to hurt Taehyung. He was angry because he felt helpless. Taehyung did not cry because Jungkook had destroyed their friendship. He cried because the confrontation touched a deeper fear he had been carrying. And the biggest secret was not some dramatic betrayal. It was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding created by two people who cared deeply but did not know how to express their feelings at the right moment. That is why the scene feels so intense. Sometimes the person standing in front of us is not the enemy. Sometimes they are the person who is desperately trying to understand us. Sometimes anger is fear wearing a different face. Sometimes tears are simply the truth finally escaping. And sometimes an emotional confrontation is exactly what two people need to stop pretending that everything is fine. The story ends quietly. There is no audience. No stage. No cameras. Only Jungkook and Taehyung sitting together after everything has been said. Taehyung's eyes are still red. Jungkook looks tired. Neither says much. But this time, the silence feels different. It is no longer the silence of misunderstanding. It is the silence of two people who finally understand. And perhaps that is the most unexpected twist of all. The argument that seemed capable of breaking them apart may have actually reminded them why their connection mattered in the first place. So, if you had been in that room, what would you have done? Would you have told Taehyung to explain his feelings? Would you have told Jungkook to calm down? Or would you simply have given them time to understand each other? Tell us what you think in the comments. Do you believe anger can sometimes come from caring too much? Do you think Taehyung's tears would have been the result of the argument itself, or because of emotions he had been hiding for a long time? And most importantly, do you think Jungkook and Taehyung would eventually forgive each other after such a painful misunderstanding? If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more emotional BTS-inspired stories. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories are not about people who never fight. They are about people who fight, break down, apologize, and still choose to stay. And in this fictional story, that is exactly what happened. Jungkook's anger was not the ending. Taehyung's tears were not the ending. The silence was not the ending. The ending was understanding. And perhaps that is the part fans would remember most. Disclaimer: this video is a fictional, fan-created story inspired by Jungkook and Taehyung of BTS. It is not based on verified events, real conversations, or confirmed statements from Jungkook, Taehyung, BTS, or their management. The emotional scenes, dialogue, conflicts, and reactions described in this story are entirely fictional and created for entertainment purposes only. This content should not be interpreted as factual news, a real incident, or an allegation about the artists. We respect Jungkook, Taehyung, BTS, and ARMY, and we do not intend to misrepresent, defame, or spread misinformation about anyone.